Hey neighbor, well I hope you're doing well. It's January here and we got gardening on our mind just a little bit because it's going to be right around the corner. And I thought I'd do a video today talking about biofumigants. Whether you're a beginner gardener or you've been gardening for a while, at some point you're going to run up against the nasty nematodes, more specifically root knot nematodes. I have a problem here in my garden with them, and everybody eventually is going to have that issue. In the past, it's been nearly impossible to manage them because as home gardeners, we don't have the powerful chemicals and fumigants that the commercial guys use. So it's something that in the past we've kind of ignored. But a few years ago, we realized there was something out there that we could do as home gardeners called biofumigate. And we started doing some work with these biofumigants, and here recently, over in the UK, they've done a lot of research on these biofumigants and some new information has come out. So I planted these biofumigants before, but I'm going to plant them again today and may enlighten you a little bit on how you can incorporate this into your garden so that you can have a heads up on nematodes and how we can control them as home gardeners. Now, biofumigants for the most part means part of the Brassica family. The Brassica family has a compound inside of those called glucosinolates.
Glucosinolates.
Glucosinolates?
Glucosinates?
I hope I said that right. Did I say that right? Glucosinolates.
I don't know.
Glucosinolates?
Glucosinolates.
Glucosinolates?
And this compound, once it's tore apart in that leaf and that leaf is damaged, and it can release that compound into the soil, it gases up and it has an effect on things such as weeds, such as root knot nematodes, and also we're finding out now that has some effect on wireworms. Wireworms, if you don't know what they are, is those little bitty holes that gets into your sweet potatoes and your other root crops, onions, and other things that can cause problems. We've always had a problem with wireworms as well. These biofumigants we're finding out now has some effect on those, but the main thing is the nematodes, and also we do get some weed control out of them. But back to the Brassica. This Brassica family is the one that's unique that has this compound in it. All of the Brassicas have this compound in it, but some of them have more than others, and that's where we run into the ones we want to use as the biofumigant. Now this one I'm going to be using today is called Kodiak brown mustard. And this is one of the highest, has one of the highest amounts of that compound inside of it. And it's one of the best biofumigants out there. Now this is not an eaten mustard. If you was to eat this mustard here, it's really bitter and real spicy and hot. Its primary focus is to use as a biofumigant because it has very high compounds of the glucosinolates. There you have it. Anyway, that's the reason we like to use this right here. Now, cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, all those have a certain amount, but maybe not the extent of what this one has in there. So even though that you're extinguishing a brassica such as cabbage and things like that, you still get a little bit of effect out of it. But these right here that's a lot higher with the amount of that compound having in it are better suited for controlling those nematodes, wireworms, and even weed control. Now, the main crops I have issue with nematodes, and this is the ones you're probably going to have issues with as well, is my squash, my cucumbers, my peppers, my tomatoes. Most importantly is my okra. All those that I just mentioned there are susceptible to nematode damage. They're warm season crops, and that's when they grow when our nematodes are active in the soil there. And you know, us as home gardeners, we don't have the opportunity to rotate like we should sometimes on these 3 to 5 year rotations. Sometimes we may have to crowd things in and plant back and at the same location more often than we should, and we get those nematode builds up and we start having nematode damage. Our garden starts going down, and a lot of the reason why is because we have a high nematode population. So the mustards I'm going to use, and this is Kodiak brown right here, like I said, it's specifically designed as a biofumigant. We're going to use today. Mustards are not daylight sensitive, so the daylight is not going, the amount of daylight in the day is not going to cause this to bloom anything. Like some crops, the amount of daylight in the day will actually trigger it to bloom. It won't do that in the mustard, so this makes this really well suited to do for a cool season crop, because mustard is a cool season crop, so that we can do this in the winter and springtime and have everything ready, so when it's time to put in those warm season crops that have those nematode problems, we can biofumigate our soils right ahead of those and be a leg up on the game. Now you can plant these in the fall. If you're going to plant in the fall, here in the deep south, October's a wonderful time there. But I'm planting these in January, and the reason I'm planting in January is because I got a spot open, and I want to plant here, and I want to have it come off about the time that, or have it come off so I can work my soils, work it into the soils, biofumigate, and have this plot ready for my warm season crops. Here we are in January. Now I'm probably going to get a little slower germination out of this right here because it is a little cooler this time of year and those seeds are not going to pop up as fast, but it's okay. I realize that I'm going to plant them just a little bit heavy and I'm going to have patience. And as soon as the weather warms up, I get these up and growing and the weather warms up, they're going to grow off to a time when I need to till them, work them back in the soil. And that is at about 50% bloom. When this Kodiak brown mustard has about 50% of them blooming, is the ideal time to work them back into the soil. Now in the past, the information we had was it needed to be done within 15 minutes. Cut the leaf, work it into the soil to let it biofumigate with 15 minutes. And that's a really tight schedule there. So I always said, you know, you use a flail mower and come right behind it with a tiller, but even 15 minutes is nearly impossible for most people to do. Some of the new research out of the UK says we got up to 5 hours to do this. But the quicker you can get that leaf cut and put into the soil, the better off you are. Now the ideal way to do this is to take a flail mower and go through there and cut it with that flail mower, chew that leaf up, come right behind it with a hair or a tiller and work it into the soil underneath the soil so it can gas up. All of you out there may not have this type of equipment. If you don't, you can take a lawnmower, a rotary mower, anything like that to cut it, and then take a hair or walk behind tiller or whatever you got to work it into the soil. Now as far as planting, you can broadcast this in and rake it in. I've done that, it works fine. Today I'm going to be using our new drill hopper right here, and I'm going to be planting these rows fairly close apart. I'm not going to take the time to mark off my rows, but I'm going to put it in my drill hopper there so I can cover them up as I go. Makes a little quicker work for me, and I can get out here and knock it out pretty quick, and I don't waste any seeds. Now these seeds here are tiny, just like most brassicas are. So you want to plant them kind of shallow, and you don't want to cover them up very much. And we normally kind of like to water them in. Well, I put an overhead sprinkler on them after I plant them to get them nice and moist so they'll come up pretty quick here. But you don't want to plant these things over a 1/4 inch deep. So I got my seeds in there. I just need to set my seeding rate here, and I'm going to do that by adjusting my gate. Oh, a little too much. These small seeds here, you're just going to need a small opening to get them out there. Yep, looks perfect. You know, there's not really a right or wrong about how far apart you want your rows. If you're going to use a seeder like this right here, I would probably say 1 foot to 2 foot probably be ideal. Once these things grow, just like any mustard, they're going to have a lot of leaf on top here. And not only are you going to get the benefit of the biofumigate, but you're going to get the benefit of that biomass of that mustard into your soil. These mustards have these big leaves on there and have a lot of biomass that we can incorporate back into the soil. So Kodiak brown is a cover crop that we can use as a biofumigate for our nematodes. We can use it to help with our wireworms also, but weed control. It also has an effect on weeds. And we know this right here, when we get ready to extinguish this Kodiak brown mustard, we're going to need to leave it in the soil anywhere from 10 to 15 days on the minimum, because that gassing out there will kill any weed seed. So if you was to want to get in a quick rotation there and come in there and plant right behind that, you're going to have a problem and your seeds are not going to germinate. Now this is true with any brassica. Any brassica that you plant, you want to give it 10 to 15 days after you've worked it in that soil to come back out there and replant, or you're going to get a poor germination from the biofumigate of that plant. But with this Kodiak mustard and it having those higher concentrations in there, it's even more important to give it time for the gas to gas out before we come in there and replant, so that we get good germination. So if you're like me and you've had some of those nematode problems in the past, or you anticipate having some, January, it's a good time to get out there. If you got a plot that's still open, plant you that Kodiak brown mustard in there. Now it's gonna be slower to grow off because of the cool weather we have here, but it's still gonna grow off in time. In springtime, we got plenty of time there at the end to work it back into the soils, to get the goodie out of that biofumigate, and have those plots ready for those warm season crops that we love to grow in the springtime.